Hello world, this is ComputerHeat, and while I said I was going to have some co-casters in some upcoming games, for a very special reason I don't today. It's a 1v1 game that I'm bringing between stevebud, an American player, and RunToTheSun, a player from Germany. Stevebud's playing as Soviets, as we can see right here, and RunToTheSun is playing as OKW. I'll have a quick look at stevebud's commanders before we kick things off. So, as you can see, there they are right there. And now we'll get this started. This is a match from before or after the most recent large patch, but before the hotfix came in. I actually haven't downloaded the hotfix, so I have been holding off on doing that until I can cast this and hopefully one other game that I heard about that should be really, really awesome. Taking a look at RunToTheSun, I think I'll follow for now. Looks like he's sending his supply half-track off to go try to examine the base from stevebud. If he gets it close enough, he'll be able to see that stevebud's already built his tier 2. But you know, as we've mentioned on this cast before, you can usually just look through the fog of war and see the shape that's on the ground produced by the building. And we have the the conscripts and the combat engineers taking a few pot shots at that. And let's see what else is going on over here. I'll talk a little bit more about the players. I know that stevebud was a name in Dawn of War 2. Now, I don't really know much about Dawn of War 2, but I think he's involved with the Elite mod for that. And he has a cast series himself called Budcast. So I might provide a link to that in the description of this replay. It looks like RunToTheSun. Oh my god! Yeah, truck crushing, hell yeah. Yeah, that's why you don't get into particularly weak garrisons. That was a nice move, pretty cheap from RunToTheSun, but you know, props to him for pulling that off so nicely. RunToTheSun from the All Stars clan, which also includes players like Symbiosis, and I know that Symbiosis and RunToTheSun have just been tearing up the 2v2 ladders recently, and yeah, they're both. That was a very active clan for Company of Heroes 1, and it's really nice to see that some of those players are coming back to Company of Heroes 2. So I'm really curious to see what stevebud is going to do now that he's lost his combat engineer. It looks like he's gotten himself a new one. So obviously he's going to want. He obviously wants the ability to lay down mines and continue making tier buildings. We can see also that he's picked his commander. He's gone for Soviet Shock Army. I remember seeing a lot of Soviet Shock Army back when you could get shock troops at 1 CP, and that first CP came very, very quickly. And yes, it was very strong. It still is a strong commander. You know, I don't know that we'll see a howitzer, for example. RunToTheSun's trying to surround this Maxim and, well, Maxim, Conscript, and Combat Engineer, almost the entire army for stevebud. I'm not really sure why he didn't choose to just, you know, kind of surround and capture other territories. It's true that RunToTheSun does have most of the map right now. And I'd say after killing that first combat engineer in rather hilarious fashion with his truck, it's too bad it's set up. I can't see if it has any kills. That's gonna immediately put stevebud on the back foot. So he's, you know, he built his tier 2 immediately. So that was an early manpower investment. And having to rebuild that conscript squad is just making it even more, delaying his capturing of the map even more. I just heard some mines. Thought I just heard mines go down. Yes, there we go. Now, one thing to note about the, I mentioned the hotfix before. One of the things that it changed, or actually the thing that it changed, was that the received accuracy penalty that weapon teams got was accidentally removed from Soviet weapon teams. So these Maxims are going to be super hard to kill. Right now we can see the... Ooh! That mine gets tripped already. The you see a Kubelwagen from RunToTheSun. That got buffed quite a bit in the recent patch. It got its range increase, and I am not sure about all of the details. It seems actually kind of a mix of buffs and nerfs. But someone who's studied the patch notes more closely than I have would be able to tell more about that. But stevebud, without, well, we'll see how he does against this Kubelwagen. Kubelwagens typically die pretty quickly against Soviet players because of things like AT grenades, pretty much anything. No matter what the Soviet does as his opening, whether it's lots of conscripts or tier 2 or tier 1, especially tier 1, the Kubelwagen tends to have a pretty short lifespan. We can see the Kubel is actually doing quite well right now. It's keeping it at range, and it did get a range increase. So it only increased it by 5, but I think now it can actually shoot as far as it can see. We'll check that in a minute. stevebud's got 3 Maxims plus some sweeper combat engineers, and he's making a second conscript squad. Let's see what we have from RunToTheSun right now. You see that he's picked the, which one is this? The Scavenge Doctrine. And right now, he's just sticking with... He's got his tier 1 building up, so he's got healing going on. And he's got his 3 squads of Volksgrenadiers, plus the Kubel and his Storm Pioneers, all of which are, you know, he's keeping them very healthy, which will... not that manpower bleed is much of an issue often for OKW, but... will help him keep his presence on the field longer against all these Maxims who are just going to cause all sorts of manpower or health damage and headaches for him. It looks like he's going for a pretty conservative placement of his truck. I'll see what he does with the later ones. You can see he's setting up his tier 4 right now. Interesting. Perhaps we'll see a quick Lukes, or a quick Lukes would be my guess. Maybe some Oversoldaten as well, and a nice early use of minesweepers here. We have some Jaeger light infantry. Where are those? They just popped out of this house, and they're going to start taking shots on the Maxim. Now they got changed as well to function a little bit more like the Pathfinders, it seems, for the US. They no longer all have G43s. They have just Kar-98 rifles and 1 G43. With the Kar-98 able to apply some kind of crit against 75% health squads, just instantly killing them. Really nice usage of the Kubelwagen so far, and I'm curious to see if stevebud has gotten AT grenades yet. Yes, he has, so if he gets in a good position, he'll be able to throw in an AT grenade and kill them. Or at least badly damage and probably finish off the Kubel. So it's going to be incumbent on RunToTheSun to just keep that thing healthy all the time. Now, yes, we can see it is able to see slightly farther than it's able to shoot. Oh, Hoorah and conscripts, where are they? There we go. Moving up to close in on these Volksgrenadiers, and I would really like to go look over at stevebud's headquarters. Oh, I wish Kilrathi Soldier was here with me, but I think he's already downloaded the patch. So, on my own on this one. We have healing from stevebud. That's good to see. And he's gotten himself a mortar as well. Interesting choice. Let's see if I was correct about fast Lukes. No, looks like we're getting an IG first, and there is enough fuel to get a Lukes, but and I think in fact that would have been a better choice to help kill off these Maxims. But the IG will be nice with the mortar around. I'd like to see if RunToTheSun, yes, he does switch his Storm Pioneers from using minesweepers now that they're in close. So they can use their slightly nerfed STG-44s to try to deal some damage on this Maxim. And man, you can see just how little damage the Maxim is taking. It didn't lose any men, lost a lot of health, but now it's got to retreat. The IG is another weapon that changed as well. It doesn't do the direct shots. It now will always shoot in the more parabolic arc. The same thing with the pack howitzer. So I get the feeling that's probably going to make it a bit less deadly than it had been, which is a little disappointing. Stevebud looks like he's really trying to hold down his munitions on the left side of the map, and he's taking the fuel on the right. Let's see a barrage actually going in from the IG. Where is the mortar? Probably doing a little bit of counter battery right here on the IG. Yes, ooh, that was a nasty hit. You can see that's the 120mm mortar. So that knocked off about 2/3 of the health and killed one of the men from that squad. Where are these? Okay, here are Jaeger light infantry moving up out of the base. And they may catch this Maxim on the road, but I don't think they're going to really be able to deal with it. Looks like they've gotten into combat, and the Maxim's moving away. Once again, very nice use of the Kubel. He is going to need to get it back and repaired soon. Oof. Heard the mortar going in, thought it was trying to hit the IG. Perhaps is, but you can't see that happening. God, so much Maxim fire. This charging directly at the Maxims really isn't going to work, although he may be able to suppress them with the Kubelwagen. And I would like to see how far stevebud is off from getting a an AT gun. Looks like we got more mines going down. No, it's his tier 3. I'm pleased to see that he went Soviet Shock Army, in part because it's going to mean we're not going to see a whole lot of stalling for call-in tanks. Now this is a good chance for the Jaeger light infantry to really do some damage. That G43 can just snipe away on those squads, but off it goes back to base to get healed up. And speaking of getting healed up, this Kubelwagen could really use a bit of TLC. And off it goes over to the Stern Pioneers, and shortly that's what they will be tasked to do now. Lots of healing going on from both sides, and some shock troops now from stevebud. You see he's gotten PPSHs on both of his conscript squads. You know, the PPSHs, and here's that Luke's I was hoping to see. One of the other changes in this patch was to try to reduce the influence of squads that do lots and lots of long-range damage, and to give the short-range squads, you know, a bit of a better chance. Oh, I think this Maxim may go down here. It does go down. We'll see if RunToTheSun decides to steal that. He doesn't have any suppression tools other than the Kubelwagen available to him, and he does decide to take it rather than salvage it. Good use of the minesweepers. He smacked into that one mine earlier on, and now he's just been running around left and right. You can see he checked to see if there are mines over here, and I imagine he's now going to go check to see if there are mines on this point. Over on the right side of the map, stevebud is decapping and taking all the territory from RunToTheSun. Now RunToTheSun's about to run into some more Maxims, and we do see an AT gun building for stevebud. Once again, stevebud, he needs to repair this this Kubelwagen. It could go down even just to the Maxim at this amount of health that it's got. The IG shooting and the 120mm mortar. Ooh. Yeah, and here's the Luke showing its worth. It's just really able to tear these squad weapons to pieces. It did take quite a lot of damage actually from that 120mm mortar shot. The AT gun is just finished and is moving up onto the field, but it's quite a ways off, so even if it gets a damaged engine, which it does, the AT gun's not really going to be able to catch it. Volksgrenadiers were trying to poke around to the right, but they're easily chased off by all of these PPSH wielding Russians. So it looks like RunToTheSun is really trying to use his Kubelwagen a bit like a Jeep from the first game as a recon unit, and you know, suppression when available. You know, smart use of the IG, but it's not really doing what he needs it to. It's not actually getting any kills. The AT gun moving up But surely RunToTheSun has seen it now. It looks like he's chasing after it. Luckily for stevebud, dodges that IG shot, just lands a little bit shy, but uh-oh. RunToTheSun is chasing after it, and there's really nothing to stop him from clearing and stealing, or just possibly destroying this AT gun. We'll see if he just leaves his Lukes here to shoot at until it's gone. What is stevebud gonna do about that? He's getting a T-34 right now, which is really good. RunToTheSun can't really steal this thing unless he moves his Lukes forward to try to kill this Maxim, which might have been a good idea. The T-34 is really gonna hurt RunToTheSun. I don't think he has any kind of AT whatsoever. He doesn't have any Shreks upgraded on his squads. See also that he's still struggling to hold on to the right, but you know, he does have the fuel on the left. He doesn't have any munitions, which could be a problem for him. And now, perhaps we'll see the AT gun get stolen. Oh, no, it looks like he's going to salvage it instead. So one thing he does get is extra salvage. Oh, will he stop the salvage now and try to capture the gun? Oh my god, Stern Pioneers wiped by a 120mm mortar shot. This is really bad news for stevebud. You can see, or for RunToTheSun, is great news for stevebud. Kugelwagen goes down to the T-34. We can see that... What? Okay, this is a little strange. RunToTheSun is making himself some Oversoldaten and another squad of Stern Pioneers. He doesn't have any AT at all. This T-34 could run in and pretty much end the game right now. We can see a Panzer Shrek upgrading, another Panzer Shrek upgrading, so that's good news. Very odd that these Panzer Shreks grant cold immunity, but, you know, why not? Cold tech sucks, in my opinion, so anything that makes it easier to keep your units alive and on the field against the ravages of the winters. So this will make a nice soft counter to this T-34-76, but not even a Raketenwerfer, no mines down at all, despite having tons of munitions, actually. Both players, in fact. We see that stevebud just purchased something. It looks like it's another 120mm mortar. I thought maybe he was getting himself another T-34, but he doesn't quite have enough fuel for that. This Maxim surely going to go down here. Oversoldaten finish it off easily. Oh! Oh! These poor Stern Pioneers. Oh my god, this 120mm mortar. I think more than half of its kills have been Stern Pioneers. Damn. So bad day to be a Stern Pioneer and RunToTheSun's army. So that's actually great for stevebud. You know, not only is it a real nuisance and headache, but it's RunToTheSun doesn't have his tier 3 up. He doesn't have his repair truck. So all of the repairs that he's going to get are going to come from these Stern Pioneers. And if they keep getting one shot by... Ooh, one shot. If they keep getting one shot by all of these... well, just by this one mortar from stevebud, it's going to be a problem. That said, he is down to only the one vehicle right now, and I imagine he's saving up for a Panther. He's almost there in terms of fuel. He just needs 5 more, which he'll get in about 20 seconds. Let's see what's going on up in stevebud's base. Looks like he's just reinforcing and healing up. His squads are healed. You know, he can start moving them up into the field. Heard a tripwire flare go off over here as the shock troops move in, and they're gonna chase off these Volksgrenadiers, no problem. These Volksgrenadiers use the infiltration grenades, and that's causing the Maxim to retreat. Although it probably didn't really need to do that. Maxim, or the PPSH conscripts, just ripped those Volksgrenadiers to bits. And we saw the on the right side of the map, the shock troops using their PPSHs just tearing up another squad of Volksgrenadiers. So what is RunToTheSun's army looking at right now? He's lost 2. No, he only lost 1 of his Volksgrenadiers. The other one's back at base healing up. And these Jaeger Light Infantry, what are they doing over here? Not entirely sure why he decided to get them. Perhaps he just wanted to try them out in the new patch world, but or just wanted to be able to pop them into that building while it was being the fuel building on the left while that point was being capped. Panther's on the way, about halfway done, and we can see that there's another Stern Pioneer or mortar bait or whatever you want to call it. We have a 105mm howitzer barrage coming in on these mortars. One of these mortars is not retreating yet. One has headed back to base, and the Maxim could be in range as well. Let's see what happens over here. Oh, dodged nicely. Looks like stevebud. Oh no! Retreating this Maxim may get it killed. Damn. As looks like we had a bit of a retreat bug happen there. Getting hit by the artillery caused the Maxim to stop retreating. It's really annoying when that happens. And stevebud still managing to keep a good solid hold on the right side of the map, really only using this one shock troop squad by itself has held the entire side there. And once again it's going to chase off another squad of Volksgrenadiers, and the Panther of all things is coming over to try to chase them off. Where's the Lukes? Here it comes to deal with these once and for all. Skip over to stevebud. Oh no, he's showing his rear armor to the T-34-76. I can see this looks like hold fire, but it's actually the new prioritized vehicles ability. I'm using air quotes as I say that. Prioritized vehicles, which will cause the tanks and most other weapons to not just shoot at the first thing they see every time. They'll hold off on shooting at infantry and, well, as the name says, prioritize vehicles. So I guess stevebud's decided that his one AT gun is not enough, and he's getting himself a second one. And here come these awful shock troops, or I should say heroic shock troops. Real destroyers of worlds. You know, they've only got 4 kills, but they've just held this entire side by themselves. They've been great so far. And somehow they're even standing up to the Lukes, you know, decently. But unless they're going to throw a grenade, they really need to just get the hell out. Smoke grenade of all things. And off they go, perhaps to their death. There's an AT gun shooting at the Lukes. It's going to back away. He may even be able to pop concealed movement and make it out of there. Stolen Maxim putting in work on the, well, not stolen Maxim. Let's see what these Shreks do. And is this the Panther moving up in the middle? Yes, it is. He knows that the Zis gun is on the right shooting at his Lukes, and probably expects that he can move up without any kind of resistance. We see another AT gun moving up. stevebud's T-34 gets hung up on this Maxim, or hung up on this AT gun. He might lose it, but looks like RunToTheSun is going to play cautiously and just pull back. I would really like to see this Volksgrenadier squad move up and salvage this Maxim just to deny it. Ugh. Not such a good day to be an Obersoldaten charging into all those Maxims. Now, they're fine if you keep them at long range, sitting in cover, shooting at a Maxim. But getting that close, bad for their health. Now, the Obersoldaten, they, because light machine guns got nerfed a little bit, got their damage reduced, the Obersoldaten actually got a buff to their Kar-98 rifles, and I'm curious to see what that's going to do to the officer from the Breakthrough Commander, because the officer squad consists of the officer himself and 3 Obersoldaten who are just armed with 3 Obersoldaten who are armed with the Obersoldaten Kar-98 rifles, I believe. Anyway, we'll see how that develops in the future. stevebud looks like he's going to be able to take back his Maxim, so RunToTheSun lost his opportunity to get rid of that nuisance. And he's taking back some of his territory on the right now that these shock troops of these heroic shock troops are on the left. Bit of a barrage from the IG going in on these excuse me. Barrage going in on the 120mm mortar. The T-34-76 getting healed up back at the base. We have a lot of fuel saved up for stevebud. His manpower is not doing so hot, but I'd like to see him make some more, well, make some more vehicles. And what do we have going on for Run to the Sun? Fair bit of manpower, a little bit of fuel. And we do see that he has gotten his repair truck up. He's not converting to any resource in particular, but this will help him keep his vehicles in tip-top shape and also be able to sweep for mines and do the occasional flank with the Sturm Pioneers. Fuels being traded. T-34-76 chasing off a couple of squads without any kind of anti-tank capabilities. So we went from the squad with no anti-tank capabilities, chasing off everything from Run to the Sun, to the infantry with no anti-tank capabilities of Run to the Sun being chased off by the tank. So, working very nicely for stevebud. He can actually capture territory with his now Vet 2 T-34-76. He's going to need to pull it away. This Panther is more than a match for it. And the Panther's nearly up to Vet 1 as well after doing, you know, poking him with the occasional shot on that unit. Ooh. See a strafe plane come in and, oh, it didn't get shot down. That's amazing. You know, the infamous skill plane of yore. Not quite the terror it once was, but certainly capable of putting a dent in any army. Yes, I caught the crash! Very nice use of the Luke, still from Run to the Sun. He's mostly just using it to defend his flanks, I think, and make the occasional flanking attack. 37 kills. It's gonna be a little bit more than that soon. A nice hit from the Lukes could result in the death of this shock troop squad if Run to the Sun tries to chase after them, but I think he's a bit too late now. The AT gun not trying to change position. Okay, a little bit belated. But looks like he's got nothing to worry about. Run to the Sun is sick of a single squad coming and taking all this territory over on the right, so we can see that he's just set up his stolen Maxim behind the sandbag. stevebud still might be able to pull off a flank if he can, you know, figure out that this Maxim is here, kill that with a conscript, and reclaim his lost Maxim. Push from Run to the Sun on the left side of the map and up in the center, just trying to probe the lines, figure out where everything is. But his infantry's not really strong enough to deal with the Maxims as they are. He's going to need something like a walking Stuka out, and what do you know, that's what he's making right now. So very good call right there. We'll click over stevebud, see what he is doing. Nothing at the moment. He's still in a bit of a manpower hole, having all of these infantry. Ooh, mortar kills the Jaeger light infantry squad. Not a huge loss, honestly, for Run to the Sun. T-34 are going to come try to put in a few shots on this Luke's, but it's getting shot at by the Panther, which is now at Vet 1, and I think the T-34-76 is going to escape no problem. Hopefully, there's been a bit too much action for me to really tell. See where the Stuka is falling. A couple of nice hits, not too much damage, but hopefully, I was trying to say, stevebud has been putting down mines to cover all of his flanks in case this Panther and Luke's decide to go on an adventure into his lines. I don't see particularly many, and not on the usual paths that the vehicles take. See, the Maxim's not here anymore. Not sure where it ended up. Just click over to Run to the Sun and see where that is. Coming back out of the base. And the Luke's doing some good harassment on these conscripts. Man, they've taken a ton of damage. Very good use of the Luke's, and looks like this conscript squad might actually get killed. I don't see any mines on the retreat path, so nothing really to stop it. Here comes a an Urad squad. I guess, you know, their comrades are safe, so there's not really any reason to give away free damage and free vet to this Luke's. Off they go with only losing one man, so not a huge loss for stevebud. See, stevebud's got quite a big army, but it's a really manpower intensive one. He's only got the one vehicle. Everything else is, you know, manned units. He hasn't teched up further at all. And he's been spending a whole lot of time repairing this T-34-76. He might... I say he might want to get another squad of combat engineers to keep that thing fixed up. Then he's not going to be able to really afford himself another vehicle, except for maybe like maybe a T-70. Oh, these 120mm mortars. Granted, those weren't particularly big shots, but I'm sure it really put the fear of God into those Volksgrenadiers. Now, RunToTheSun's got to be worrying a bit about the VPs at this point. Stuka firing, surely over here. Surely over here. There we go. Oh, looks like that mortar got completely destroyed. So that's very nice for RunToTheSun. And stevebud can't really, I'll say, can't really afford to call on a second mortar. I mean, he may go ahead and do it, but I think he should take the opportunity to use his now freed up pop cap and a bit more manpower that he has available to him to call in another tank. He might even want to tech up to... Ooh! He might even want to tech up to tier 4 and get himself an Su-85 or possibly a Katusha. AT grenade bounces on the front of the Panther. Not really much point in doing that. Luke's getting shut up by the Maxim. It's not going to be a good day for the Maxim. Lots of fighting going on all the fronts of the map. A bit challenging for me to cover right now. But see that RunToTheSun decided to get himself another squad of the Jaeger light infantry. They popped out of the house over here on the right, and they should really be trying to go after this AT gun and kill it and then maybe salvage it. Difficult to do when there's some PPSH conscripts around that can fight them off. But, ooh. Looks like he missed his opportunity to do that, although now the conscripts are all in retreat.
Command level capabilities ready for deployment.
Switch over to stevebud again. We see that, yeah, he's decided to take his now freed up bit of pop cap and get himself two T-3480. Two T-34-76s. Stuka firing one more time. Where is this going to go in? Oh! Nearly kills this entire squad of combat engineers, and they're still getting hit by the IG, I believe. 11 kills in the Stuka, not bad, not bad. I think that now might, well, see more artillery coming in. RunToTheSun might be wise to put down a couple of mines, with, assuming he still has some Stern Pioneers, as he does. I'll put down a couple of mines, and I mean, obviously he can't tell that there are multiple T-34-76s on the way, but he certainly doesn't want them to be able to just run rampant behind his lines. And again, he still doesn't have a whole lot of anti-tank. He's got the Panther, which is good, against the medium armor like the T-34-76, and he's got his Panzer Shreks on his Volksgrenadiers. But he hasn't managed to, for example, steal an AT gun. He doesn't have any Raketenwerfers. Nice flank by stevebud on this Maxim, and they're probably going to kill that thing very quickly, although they're getting shot at by the IG and this Panther 2. And I think that, yeah, stevebud's just going to have to retreat from this fight. Once again, it would be nice if you can get something up here that could salvage and destroy this Maxims to prevent it from going back into the hands of his opponent. A Flak Panther. It seems a bit redundant when he already has the Lukes to go ahead and get an Ostwind, and I think he's going to regret having done that now that he sees this second T-34. Granted, he does still have quite a lot of handheld AT from these Volksgrenadiers, and they're quite good. You know, now they've got lots of bed as well. Plane crash into the base! Oh, I didn't see if that killed anything. It probably killed a couple of Oversoldat, but let's get back up here onto the front lines. Walking Stuka coming in, doing quite a number on these, Zis guns, but not managing to kill any of them. And stevebud's going to be able to just pull them back, repair them up if they need that, and possibly even merge a squad into them. Looks like there is... Oh, I see the ring around here. I think that's the newly added effect onto plane strike, or off-map airplane attacks, like the plane that just got shot down. You can now see the area of effect for them on the map, so apparently you can still see that even after the plane has gotten shot down. Slightly hallucinogenic, if you ask me. Oh, these Volksgrens are really tightly grouped up, and they're getting charged down by these shock troops. I think they, yes, they do in fact get killed. Oh, brave or, you know, foolhardy squads right there. A squad of shock troops, and this Panther's getting in pretty deep. Not quite able to finish off this one T-34, but doing damage. It's going to take a long time for that thing to get repaired, since there's still, I believe, only the one squad of combat engineers. Nope, there's a new squad of combat engineers. Very good. And we do have the third T-34-76 out. And this Lukes is pretty much free to even get hit by AT grenades and sit here and take tons of damage. Deal tons of damage, that is. Since there's not a whole lot that can threaten it at the moment. Here comes the new T-34-76. The Panther's back getting healed up, and this thing may try to come in and finish up the Lukes, and it can even do a number on this Ostwind as well. It takes a rear shot from the Panther, and there's nothing around really to protect this T-34-76 from the Panther, so it decides to just soft retreat away. Walking Stuka going in, not sure where. Oh, nice prediction from RunToTheSun, thinking that stevebud would reoccupy these positions again. He manages to completely destroy the remaining 120mm mortar. The stevebud still has a sizable army, but it's not quite up there in terms of value of RunToTheSun, who's at 100 out of 100 pop cap, and is securely in control of his side of the river. stevebud, he really needs to get his army in order and start moving them back up into the middle. Now RunToTheSun is able to make incursions onto his side of the map. These Oversoldat, I guess they're just waiting for something to come across that they can shoot at. RunToTheSun could even start putting down sandbags to try to make it even more difficult for stevebud to come back across. Of course, you don't want your opponent to take advantage of the sandbags that you've laid down. Pretty good spot for these Oversoldaten. And on the right, I think we're about to have a bit larger fight set go off. The T-34-76 that was taking a few... Woo! Okay, not totally sure what that's about. Stolen Maxim gets cleared as these two T-34-76s move over on the left to just sweep out a little pocket for stevebud to reoccupy. Off go the Jaeger Light Infantry, and I think they should make it back without any serious problems. stevebud's got to be a little bit hesitant about moving into the middle of, moving in more towards the headquarters trucks. Stuka barrage probably going in on these two AT guns. That would be would have been a perfect target, but the Barrage just misses. One T-34-76 finishes off the Ostwind. Plane goes in, crashes once again in the base. Yeah, this ability is a bit wasted a lot of the time on OKW. I think they've got so much anti-air power. Just all of their base emplacements are capable of shooting down planes. One of the headquarters trucks is capable of shooting down planes. And then RunToTheSun even he had an Ostwind. This T-34-76 is in bad shape and might get killed by this barrage that's coming in. No, it looks like everything's managed to get well out of the way of that. So that's just going to be a bit of a waste of munitions, unless stevebud charges his conscripts into this. You know, one thing that might actually have been kind of useful for stevebud earlier on is a howitzer. RunToTheSun has been really clumped up here in the middle. All of his stuff is congested around these couple of points. Now, he would have to worry about a sneaky Stuka barrage, but the Stuka doesn't have tremendous range. And a howitzer in the back of your base on this map can hit any point on the map, particularly the Soviet howitzer, which I believe is a bit longer range. Got a T-34-76, goes in for the ram, causes a damaged engine of all things on this Panther, but it manages to keep its gun, doesn't even get crew shocked, so it ought to be able to escape. You finally have a piece of dedicated anti-tank from RunToTheSun, although the Rakettenwerfer is not exactly the greatest anti-tank unit in the game. There's a decent Stuka shot. I'm really surprised that didn't do more damage to these double Zis guns, and they're going to back away now. You know, despite taking so many shots, they still have a decent amount of gun health, which you can see down here.
We are losing territory. The enemy has 100 points remaining.
RunToTheSun still in a VP hole, as we can see, but I think now it's safe to say that he's got the superior army. Stevebud's rebuilding that one lost T-34-76. And looks like he's trying to move in on the base. This could go tits up for him pretty quickly. It looks like he's going to lose this T-34-76, possibly even to the Schwerer Panzer headquarters. Another plane goes in. I can hear it taking damage as it flies overhead, those nice plinking noises. Stevebud doesn't lose either of his T-34-76. That's it's pretty impressive. Oh! Plane crashes into the base emplacement, killing the crew, but leaving the gun intact. I don't think that's going to be much of a concern for. I don't think that'll be much of a concern for RunToTheSun. You see, his tanks have all got quite a bit of veterancy now. This Panther's almost up to Vet 4, and I don't even know what that does. Increased range on the Panther. That'll be very, very useful in conjunction with you know, just keeping it behind the infantry and taking long-range shots at these T-34-76s. Another Stuka barrage going in, but it sounds like stevebud hears it and he moves out of the way. So, taking a bit of damage on this one Zis, but nothing he can't handle that close to his base. I'm really amazed these shock troopers only have 9 kills. I seem to recall them killing an entire squad of Volksgrenadiers earlier on. Zis gun's so closely clumped up. Yeah, it's really a miracle that stevebud hasn't lost these yet. Keeping them as close together as he has. Like I said, the PPSH is quite strong once again. I think it'll take experimentation from players to see just exactly how good they are. And we are seeing now RunToTheSun putting down mines, so he knows that his opponent is investing a lot in these medium tanks, and If any of them hit those shoe mines, it could get a damaged engine, and they'll just be easy pickings for his Panther in particular, or Rakettenwerfer. Looks like he lost all of his Panzerschrecks. Like he's got plenty of munitions. It would be good to see him get those back, but you know, these Volksgrenadiers have lost all their vet. Well, they died, so the squads are gone. The vetted squads are gone. We'll see if any of these T-34-76s do smack into this mine. Looks like they're going to try to pull off a base rush here. They could catch and kill the Stuka. 24 kills, no, not bad. And there's really nothing stopping stevebud from pushing this assault as hard as he can. We'll see if he calls in another Sturmovik attack. Oh, down goes the Stuka. That's gonna make it it's gonna make life a lot easier for his AT guns. I don't see them moving up at all. I don't want to go over to the tactical map to try to get a look at that. And it looks like stevebud's decided he's got what he wanted, and now he's just going to pull back. See all of his tanks in a retreat, so this is a very nice move. Something that takes a lot of, that marks a good Company of Heroes player is knowing when you're safe to attack. And that's one of the things you really have to learn. Oh, and also being able to make an orderly retreat once you pulled off the attack that you were attempting. Looks like those vehicles may have gotten hung up on each other. A bit of Three Stooges going on there. And he did lose the 3-1 on retreat. That's pretty bad. You know, stevebud, he had such a huge lead on this Panther. He should have been able to pull it out no problem. These Zis guns are now safe to stack up on top of each other like they're doing. With the shock troops finally go down. Safe to stack up on top of each other with the reign of terror that was the walking Stuka finally destroyed. Vet 5 Lukes. This Lukes is interesting now. At Vet 5 it gets the ability to, well, its main gun causes suppression on targets as well. We see that there's a second Panther from RunToTheSun. So the Lukes will be doing, not only will it be killing infantry like crazy, but it's now able to suppress them as well. Is stevebud actually able to see this Panther? Yes, he is. He's taking surprisingly little damage here. Is he using tracking on either of these? No, doesn't look like it. RunToTheSun. He must be feeling the VP pressure. He's capturing this point in the left with his Rakettenwerfer. 72 kills, 73 kills now on this Lukes. Excuse me, having a bit of a brain fart. So it would be good of RunToTheSun to get some infantry up to spot for his Panther now that it's got the extended line of sight. Or extended gun range. I don't know that it has extended line of sight. I don't think that it does. Oversoldat not going to do too well against the T-34-76, but if they provide the visibility, then this Panther can move up. We see another strafe coming in, and the Oversoldat will decide to just book it out of there. Taking a fair bit of damage, and we'll see if this plane also gets shot down, as so many of the others have. Man, this Lukes is a menace. AT guns are moving over to try to deal with it. And we're not seeing any more T-34. Oh, come on, where did you crash? Oh, right into the repair truck. See, all of these buildings have taken a bit of damage throughout this fight. I think primarily from the planes crashing into them. There was that one little base inspection from stevebud's T-34-76s. But nothing much other than that. So I'm wondering if stevebud is in fact going to go for howitzer. He's got plenty of fuel, but he now has enough manpower to build one if he chooses to. Here, artillery going in over here. Don't think he's going to be able to catch these Zis guns as they back away. So once again, a bit of a waste. Every time he's done that, Steve Bud has been really good about getting out of there. Oh, that beautiful Luke's finally goes down. I haven't noticed if RunToTheSun has been salvaging the vehicles that have been lost around here. I see a lot of destroyed wrecks. That's possible, and I guess we'll see if these Oversoldaten can't salvage. Okay, good. They can't salvage. I could run some Volksgrenadiers up there to go do that, or use his Storm Pioneers. You see he's making another squad of Volksgrenadiers. Aha! And we do, in fact, do we have a howitzer? I heard something about howitzers. I guess that was just me losing my mind and hearing this howitzer barrage announcement. So, RunToTheSun, he's having, he's done so well, but he's just been having a hell of a time getting back these VPs into his control. And now he's lacking a bit of the anti-infantry firepower. Oh no, this T-34-76, probably getting a bit hung up over here. I would really like to see stevebud use some more Zis barrages rather than these planes that just keep getting shot down. Although, that was quite a nice plane. Quite a nice strafe right there. RunToTheSun looks like he's going to be able to take the left VP as the one in the center gets reclaimed by stevebud. You can see that stevebud has been repairing his AT guns. Yep, once again, another plane shot down. Man, bad day to be a Storm Pioneer, bad day to be a Soviet pilot. And looks like, although this VP is captured, it's not going to last long, although we have some really nice infiltration grenades going in, but still, that's not going to be enough to save them from these, not going to be enough to save the Volksgrenadiers from getting chased off. Over on the right, stevebud's capturing the victory point. Did he build a howitzer like I wished he would? No, he didn't. He's going in for another T-34-76. I think that's a bit of a missed opportunity. Stevebud has been spending a lot of time over here by his repair trucks and by his headquarters trucks. And, oh, very nice. One of the AT guns finally destroyed, and the other one decrewed and knocked down to about half health. Not totally sure how, if RunToTheSun's going to be able to capitalize on this. The conscripts, I thought they threw an AT grenade, but perhaps they didn't. Vet 5 Panther, that's a sight. Over on the right, these Oversoldaten are probably going to be able to clear out these squads no problem from stevebud. RunToTheSun just running rampant over here. More infiltration grenades thrown on this conscript squad, probably get killed right here. But I think RunToTheSun is maybe a little bit worried, reasonably so, about smacking into some mines. But his Storm Pioneers are just sitting back at the base idle. They could have been moving up with this attack to try to spot and see if there were any mines and sweep them if there were, and help them to kill off these remaining T-34-76s. Oh man, even though he's pulled off this nice coup hitting the 2 AT guns, RunToTheSun just really wasn't able to capitalize on it. He was able to take the middle VP, but he's only going to hold on to that for a second. At the same time, he may... Now, it looks like he'll be able to claim this one on the right. This Zis gun moves up just a little bit more. He can continue doing damage on these Panthers. And, as strong as the Panthers are, I don't think they're going to be able to... They may not be able to stop stevebud from claiming this point. Shock troops do a number on those Storm Pioneers. Yeah, the Storm Pioneers, first of all, they had their Minesweeper equipped, and Second, they're just not as good close up anyway. They also had their weapons toned down quite a bit. Oh, 2 sets of grenades just totally missed these shock troops. But yeah, off go the Volksgrenadiers. And once again, this is not a good situation for RunToTheSun to be in. He's rebuilding his Storm Pioneers. I'm not totally sure why. I think that actually another squad of Obersoldaten might have been a better choice, just to help kill off these Maxims and help him move up a little bit more, take these points back that he needs. I mean, the Panthers are great for beating back these T-34-76s, and the Obersoldaten do a good job against the Stuka going in again. Probably going to finish off once and for all this AT gun. Down it goes. All 3 VPs are now white. 1 T-34-76 goes down. Oh, the Jaeger Light Infantry goes down. Maxim's still alive somehow, getting shot at by the IG. And we've got conscripts on the left, taking the VP on the left, while another squad moves in the middle. And we have to think that was Obersoldaten on the right. Yes. Obersoldaten on the right take the right VP. Now the IG is trying to stop the cap. There's absolutely no way this is going to work. The Obersoldaten are charging in. They've got their Vet 5 teleporter Iron Man boots on. And are they going to get into the capping circle? They're now inside the capping circle, so the cap is stopped. And this is really getting down to the wire for RunToTheSun. stevebud's army is kind of in tatters. He's having to remake conscript squads right now. He does have just a ton of fuel, and he could be making more T-34-76s, but I'm not sure that's really going to help him out. I think we're going to see the Panthers try to push these shock troopers out of the capping circle, but no, looks like... Oh! RunToTheSun does manage to stop that with his Vet 5 Obersoldaten. Man, those guys are beasts. Looks like the shock troops got killed over on the right side of the map as I move over to watch this, and now all 3 VPs look like they're going to end up in the hands of RunToTheSun. The one on the left is contested. I really want to look over there, but I can't. Okay, I'll do it. Alright, so RunToTheSun is going to hold on to that. He may lose. A real desperate struggle to hold on to the middle. I think throwing units over and over again into the middle is costing stevebud a whole lot more than it's costing RunToTheSun, and I think he's probably going to bleed out before he's able to draw down the VPs. So stevebud down to 100 points in triple cap. Stuka going in surely on the middle. If nothing else, just to chase off these conscripts. They managed to take that pretty well, and they can probably raise the middle VP. You know, a late game Kubelwagen might actually not go amiss right now. But stevebud's getting himself another AT gun. He's been desperately lacking in anti-tank for a while now. All he's got at the moment really is anti-tank grenades. AT gun's finished. This T-34-76, although it's Vet 3 and very strong, it has to fight a Vet 5 Panther. And, well, wow, when did that Ostwin appear? Play back over. Looks like stevebud threw in the towel, saw the writing on the wall, and yeah, I don't really see any way for him to come back into this game. Man, that was really brutal there at the end. A real back and forth for a long time. Very well played by both players and a lot of fun to watch. No stalling for Colin Tank, although this is one where I think that, for example, an ISU probably could have benefited stevebud. That said, so would an ISU, and so would that howitzer had he decided to build that. So that's something I would have liked to see. More parts of planes scattered all over the map. My God, it would really. I think we must have seen like 4 of them hit the ground, but I think there are at least another 2 that I didn't capture. There's so many. You know, you could build a small air force just from the pieces that are laying around the inside of RunToTheSun's base. So that was a really fun match to watch. Lots of high vet units, lots of cool attacks from both players. This was a replay that RunToTheSun sent to me. Hopefully, be getting a replay with him, with RunToTheSun and Symbiosis soon. They've been just tearing up the 2v2 ladders recently, and yeah, I wrote to them a little while ago, and like I said, hopefully we'll be seeing something. Hopefully we get to see a cast of one of their games soon. And yeah, stay tuned. I'm planning on casting another game very shortly, and that one should be a real cooker. And that's it for this video, folks. If you like this video, you should head over to the replay section at COH2.org and honor the video, or honor the replay. I'll provide a link to that here and in the description. And if you like this, you might consider subscribing to the channel, making new videos all the time. And with that, Computer Heat out.